Take 6.
Tell me when the last one's on.
Come on. Take 5, take 6.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Gear There and Everywhere. I'm Ryan, and I'm here with Paul, Dom, and Sam, and today we're going to be talking about All My Lovin'. So,
Great song.
yeah, you may have
Love
wondered,
that
why did I play it on that guitar? That's what we're going to talk about today.
More on
Well,
that.
let's start off with the history. When was it recorded? How did it start off?
So, Dom, do you want to take over?
Of course. I'd be delighted to. So, the song was recorded on July 30th, 1963, which is also the same day that the Beatles did Till There Was You, It Won't Be Long, Roll Over Beethoven, and I think that was it, plus, of course, All My Loving. So they started All My Loving last in the day. So take one started approximately about 10 p.m., and by 11 p.m., the song was done. So it only took about an hour to record.
Cool.
So that's what we know. Recorded late in the night on July 30th, 1963 in Studio 2.
Very busy. They were doing...
Very busy.
I mean, aside from singles, their past... Yeah, I guess their previous recording session would have been the February one, right? Because they had the...
You're right.
They had the... If you go back all the way, you have the Love Me Do, P.S. I Love You session in September. Then you have the Please Please Me of 62. And then you have Please Please Me, Ask Me Why in November. Then you have February, which is the other 10 songs on Please Please Me, February 11th. Then you have March 5th is From Me to You, Thank You Girl, and One After 909. And then after that, I think the next session was She Loves You, I'll Get You, which was in... that was July 1st.
July 1st.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is the next marathon. I mean, close as you can get to the marathon session where they're starting to do album tracks and they're just knocking them out.
Yeah.
And you said it won't be long was this day too. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's kind of interesting because that was also going to be that before they came up with She Loves You, that was going to be the next single.
Was it?
Yeah. That was originally planned to be the next single. I've read that in a couple places anyway. And then they wrote
Wouldn't have
She
worked.
Loves You.
Yeah.
It might be worth mentioning too that we did a whole episode on all the guitars that George used in '63 live and in studio. So check that out.
But
Although
we missed
forgot
one.
the Jose Ramirez.
Yeah, we missed one,
forgot
which
the
we're going to
Jose
be talking
Ramirez.
about today. So it sort of gets its own
Yeah.
episode here.
Well, it deserves it.
Yeah. Because we do know, thank goodness, it at least makes sense. Because Till There Was You was on this day. So we definitely know that he had the Ramirez in the studio.
And that is what we will be talking about
Yes.
today. The everlasting argument on which guitars were played on this song, All My Loving.
And for all...
Now, I know,
Oh, go for it.
I was just going to say, I know none of us own a Jose Ramirez. Have any of you played it or anything like that?
No.
No.
Yeah, I've never played.
I haven't played it. I would love to eventually. But I wonder how much different it would sound versus a normal nylon string guitar. What year was George's?
I want to say it was like a 61 or 2.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it wasn't really a well-known guitar
Yeah,
at the
and
time.
Yeah.
You got it
of
from
all...
Klaus Vormann.
Of all Beatles... Oh, I didn't know that. Of all Beatles
Yeah.
guitars, that's going to be the one where the year's probably going to
think.
matter the least. Because I can't imagine, like, nylon string guitars probably don't... The tone doesn't change a whole lot, right?
No, it
Doesn't-
does.
I wouldn't.
It does. Oh yeah. I mean, you
Yeah, I'm
take
sure
like
there's
a crappy $100 Yamaha one, and even you compare that with I have a from one of my friends. He's loaning me his Cordoba C5. It's like a $600.
See, maybe I say
that
that because I've
range.
never actually played a good one.
It's a big difference.
Okay.
There's
Yeah,
more
I
bass
mean
response.
that's like Willie Nelson's trigger.
Yeah.
Like he broke it in with punched a hole in it, whatever that was. that really changed the tone. So.
There's a big difference when it comes to that stuff. So I think it would sound a bit different. And don't forget that I believe the body is smaller on the Jose Ramirez.
Right. Yeah, it is very small.
Than a full size classical.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. There's a handful of arguments going on with this song. So I guess there's one would be let's start from where does the idea of this song stem from? And I would say in most people's minds it stems from the Ed Sullivan Show. So everyone sees the Beatles play All My Lovin' on the Ed Sullivan Show. Was it the first song they did, or in the first 3 songs or something like that?
It was the very first song.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's another. Talking about Ed Sullivan is all another conversation because it's very interesting how Paul got very much the spotlight on that first show, especially since John's mic was broken or something, or lower.
It wasn't broken. That was the second one.
Was it just lower? Maybe I'm thinking of the second one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like the first song they played, and everyone from that moment has the Gretsch Country Gentleman and the Rickenbacker 325 ingrained in their minds forever. And the 2 guitar companies' histories are going to be changed forever because they can remain in business. I mean, Gretsch probably would have been fine for the most part.
Rickenbacker wouldn't have.
No, Rickenbacker definitely wouldn't have.
Hoffner wouldn't have.
Yeah, Hoffner definitely wouldn't
done.
Yeah.
So now for the song, well, first off, we can definitely know there's a nylon string in it. That's why we're even here talking about the Jose Ramirez. It's there 100%. We can hear it. There's no denying that it's in the song.
And that's pretty
the recorded version.
Revolutionary thing to hear if you've never heard that before. Because everyone's thinking, I've heard the parts that they play on Ed Sullivan. And I know like George's solo, that sounds electric of some sort, and then John's rhythm is electric. Where is there somewhere for there to be this nylon string? And let's go ahead and let me play the audio just from the last couple of seconds of the song. You can hear something very interesting. Okay, so here we've got, I guess, one of the stereo mixes of All My Lovin', and the last couple of seconds, you can hear there's the last chord, that last E, you can hear like a very acoustic sound, and specifically a very like nylon string reverberation sound. It's not bright sounding like steel strings would be. And I'll just play that. I will send to you. And specifically that bit there. That's not coming from the Rickenbacker, and that's not coming from the Country Gentleman, and it's probably not coming from a J160E, because that
could it be the bass?
Am
I introducing a whole new argument?
That's maybe another can of worms.
Yeah. If you go listen to the isolated takes of the guitars, is that what you're going to say, Paul?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing.
Yeah, the isolated takes really, you can hear George with a pick and a nylon string, which is not how you're supposed to play a classical guitar. But I think he might do that on and I Love Her. Did he also use a pick? On
it's
that
in the movie. You can see him do it.
Right.
You want me to? Is that on that isolated channel?
If you YouTube it and isolated guitars from All My Love, you definitely hear classical.
The first video.
Okay, give me one sec.
And not just at the end, because was the ending? Am I thinking of a different song? But was the ending overdubbed or something? Or they took another take?
Oh, I didn't think so.
Of the ending, might be thinking of a different song.
That might be. There's a couple of songs where they split them like in half.
This Boy was one of them.
Yeah, This Boy is 2 takes.
Yeah.
And that's a little more obvious though. And I saw her standing there. The count in is from a different take, right?
Standing there was take
9.
Yeah. Was the count in, and they spliced it into the recording. Yeah.
There's a song I'm thinking of where like the ending is almost like a little sharper in pitch than the rest of the song. It might be this one. I can't remember.
Do we just play? Which part do you want? The end or the beginning?
No, from the beginning.
Yeah, right beginning. I was gonna
Can't play
say
too
you.
much of that
He's
probably.
doing it just like live.
Yeah,
He's
it's
playing
clear
just
as
like he
day.
did live.
You can. I mean, John having the triplets there is helpful in that it makes the other one a little more obvious. Let's see.
Yeah.
And then during the solo, let's see what it does. Oh yeah, you can definitely
You can
hear
hear
it right there.
On the offbeats.
So now you have the question of
Alright, that's another.
what's the
other
solo?
question.
So the nylon's definitely there. So the Gretsch Country Gent is not what George is playing on the basic track. So
First off, let's stop.
okay.
What does the viewers think? What do they think is on the solo? What do you comment below? What do you guys all think is on the solo? Is it the J160E? Was it the nylon string guitar, which I don't think it is, or was it the Country Gentleman? Those are probably the options, or I should say two options mainly: J160 and the Country Gent. So comment below, tell us what you think. Now, just because this is the way my screen is set up, Dom, what do you think it is?
On the solo, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's the J160.
Sam?
I'll be devil's advocate and say the Gent. I don't know if I believe that fully, but I'll say that.
Ryan?
I definitely think it's the J160. I think it's got that woody tone that only the J160 has.
And myself, I say J160. I think it's the J160 doing it.
And
I should probably just leave right now. Sorry.
I don't think the Gent is in the song at all. I think
Yeah.
that song literally is just the J160 double tracked, because the solo is definitely double tracked. And then John,
Is it?
I don't think it is double
I thought it
tracked.
was, isn't it? You don't think it is?
All right,
They
So
wouldn't
you
have been
think-
able to fit that onto the tape.
yeah,
So
okay.
where did the nylon string come from then?
That was the
The
basic,
basic.
track.
That's on the basic track.
So they all sat down and did it live.
So
So
the
what was
solo was
overdubbed?
So just the
overdubbed,
solo was
Solo,
So-
was, yeah. And
all
the
right, yeah,
double
so-
track vocals.
Which
Oh
actually,
yeah, so solo.
I think there's an additional layer in this where, there's an additional layer where the backing vocals then, because they're still on 2-track tape machines at this point, they only have 2 shots at overdubbing stuff, right? Or 2 shots at recording. So you have the basic track, and then the backing vocals, or I can't remember if the backing vocals would have been live. Yeah, I can't remember. But
The basic track was recorded live with vocals. Right?
yeah, because the second track would have been the double tracked vocal, so they needed to have the vocal on the first track. But I can't remember if the backing vocals were also on the basic track.
Was the main vocal double track, or are you talking about
The
just
main
in the
vocal.
chorus where he
No, the main
doubles
vocal.
his
Main vocal is double tracked,
Mm.
but then on that double tracked main vocal, he goes up to the harmony.
for the last verse or whatever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
where George would normally do that live,
Yeah.
but it's Paul on the record.
I mean, I don't think this has everything completely right, but according to Jerry Hammock's book, he has guitar 1, guitar 2, bass and drums, and I'll note he says it's the Rickenbacker and the Gretsch Country Gent, which we've just said can't be right. Through AC30s still, they don't have AC50s yet. That's on track 1, and then vocal. Oh, okay. Huh. I'm a little confused by this. Let me just read it real quick. And apparently they did this. Let's see. Take 1 was complete. Was a complete take. Take 2 and 3 were false starts. Takes 4, 6, and 7 were complete. There was no take 5 in the end. Take 11 captured the performance everyone was looking for. And that had. Let's see. Yeah, Paul doing the lead vocals in addition to bass. And it says George and John are on the basic track doing backing vocals, and then Paul's double track vocal gets put on to take 11 in addition to that.
The solo, and then that's it, right?
With
Those
the
are the only
solo.
overdubs.
And
Yeah.
I think that's it, yeah. But there's something to do with, like, there would have been if the J160E was on, if the solo was on the basic track and not overdubbed, then there would have been acoustic bleed in the mic because he's just saying backing vocals right next to the mic, and so he's still going to be pretty close, and that acoustic would be kind of loud.
That was my kind of main thought of how it still could be the gent is maybe George. Well, I guess it's overdub. Why would there be any bleed?
But with John, if he's singing backup vocals into the mic by the acoustic guitar, if he's playing the J160 on the rhythm,
right? So
you're right, there would be acoustic.
Yeah,
bleed.
so that's the second thing. So we've said George is not on the country gent; that he was on the Jose Ramirez. There's some people that believe that John is on the J160 and not the Rickenbacker. Specifically, Michael Sokill made a video doing this, which you guys can go watch. Should we watch some of it or no? I don't know how.
Well, I remember many years ago coming across, when I was a kid, coming across that how to play guitar like John Lennon.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that in Mike's video?
Yeah.
And he did a snippet of Lovin'. And, I mean, it was perfection. He nailed it. The tone. And to me, it sounded like the record. But, again, you line it up with the J160. They're pretty similar. Neck pickup.
Yeah.
On both guitars.
Let me go ahead and play it. We don't have a 325 here right now, but
I do want to get in at some point on the wiring.
Okay, yeah.
An argument against it being the 325 at some point.
Last thing I want to say before you play, Ryan, is the fact that I also feel today's technology. I mean, you could probably take a banjo, and I could make that thing sound like Day Tripper. Spot on, you ain't gonna be able to tell the difference. You know what I mean? So with today's technology, so again, we're never, but go on.
Okay. So he's got that, and then, for the bridge. And at the end, this is maybe important. What's the chord after that?
E.
Just E, that's right. Is it up here?
Yeah.
So that seems like a stretch. But does he end it on this E?
No, it's just like I think it's just like a E5, so it's like the E, the B, and the E. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but this bit at the end of the song, yeah, it's on you again. This bit at the end of the song where John does the I'm getting very close. I'm like forcing my hand on this. Like that seems like if you're trying to get the song done quickly and you've done 6 songs that day. I don't know. That seems.
I mean, he could have technically just done it like this.
That's how I think he would have done it.
Yeah.
Well, let me try that again.
Yeah. Don't bar
He would
it.
have barred it.
Yeah. So.
He never did the bars anyway.
I mean, that's still my wrist is like on the.
Yeah.
I don't know how to show.
Yeah,
it.
and for anyone who's
It's
not
very
really
awkward.
understanding that the Rickenbacker 325 has a very narrow neck and short scale, it's much easier to play these kind of intricate little tiny things. Where as on Ryan's jumbo acoustic, it's a big neck. It'll be hard to do those high up bar chords because the body is where the neck meets. It's very tight there.
Well, also don't forget, with the 325s being was a 20 3/4 inch. Super tiny scale length. The frets are close together. So if you take a normal guitar neck like a Strat, you cut it off at the 5th fret. That's what you're working with.
Yeah.
That fret spacing.
So
it's pretty close. So it's easy to play these things.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely could have done it on that as far as like physically being able to play it, but it just seems like you wouldn't. So I don't know. There was one other thing I was gonna say. Oh, I mentioned the like woodiness of the tone earlier,
Well, that's what I'm.
and so I
convinced
think the J160 is too woody for what John's doing on the song. But I don't know, Dom. What's your?
Well, I think
Oh yeah. What do you got?
What?
I was gonna say maybe with like a certain setting on that AC30, how they had it in the studio, facing a certain way, blah blah blah. I'm sure they were able to get more of an electric type of sound that we're hearing. Sounds like they probably drove the amps pretty hard too.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Dom,
Well, don't
Because
forget
compared,
do you want to talk about this
Paul's
pickup thing?
argument. Well, Paul's argument with the voltage too being different
Right.
in the UK.
well, yeah,
It may have something to do
But
with
I
it.
don't think that factors as much on these AC30s as it would on later amps, but
Yeah.
it is a factor.
True.
well, when I did that test earlier, when I made that little snippet, when I compared "Please Please Me" to "All My Loving," you can hear the fact that "Please Please Me" is definitely more of a woody, Tony J160E sound
Do you want to play that?
verse.
We haven't heard it yet.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I sent it to you. You have it,
Oh,
right?
you did, didn't you? Let me pull that up.
That's another interesting point about like if John was doing the vocals live, and he was strumming, what would get picked up? How would a 325 sound?
Yeah, I think 325 obviously is going to be lower in volume,
But you still might hear some of the plunking.
but you
from the
definitely hear a lot
strings.
more if it was on a J160, and I feel like that
Would
would have been
that
a lot more
cause
audible.
a false reverb though? Maybe that's how they're able to kind of like
But it
give also a little more oomph to
well,
it.
on those isolated guitars, George is close to the mic too because he's doing backing vocals, and you can hear his actual like pick strumming on the acoustic. So why wouldn't you be able to
Yeah.
hear that on John's if it's also on an acoustic? That's sort of my question. I mean, maybe you're saying the electric drowns it out and it's close enough, but I don't know. I don't buy it. I think he would have been able to hear the acoustic on the record if he was on a J160. Do you want me to play that woody tone thing you were just talking about on Please Please Me? I'll pull
Yeah,
that
play
up.
that.
Okay. So this is just a clip from Please Please Me, and what else is it?
All My Lovin'.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's exact.
That was for the solo, right? So they're both that woody sound.
But
The
you can
exact
hear, I think
Yeah.
that they drive the AC30 harder though. So that thing, you can hear that the volume is definitely crunched up on that. In my
Well,
opinion,
but that's the
it's
tones
definitely not
rolled
as
back.
smooth.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not as smooth.
The tones rolled back on Lovin' too.
Yeah,
I
Please
didn't-
Please Me. It almost sounds more like a duo jet or something.
Yeah.
I did not.
because it's just brighter.
Yeah, I did not roll the tone back.
interesting.
I can try that again. Let me just play through the solo since we were talking about that before, and then I'll let Dom finally talk about
Oh yeah.
the Rickenbacker pickups. Okay. And that's with tone off. I'll play it again with tone on. I keep forgetting. Let me try that again.
That's
Yeah, he definitely electrified. Definitely sounds good.
yeah.
All right, Dom, you've been waiting forever. Well, what do you got to
Oh,
tell us
yes.
about Rickenbacker pickups?
So the way John used his 58 325, and for the geeks, it's serial number V81. The way that these guitars are wired up was kind of strange. So in your up position on the pickup selector, which would be your standard neck position, it engaged the neck and middle pickups. You could not isolate the neck pickup on the 325s in the 50s. The middle position was all three pickups. The bridge position was just the bridge. So if you take a song like It Won't Be Long or Please Mr. Postman, listen to the rhythm guitar. It almost sounds like the neck and middle position of a Strat, where it's kind of quacky. You know, it's hard to describe the tonal qualities of that sound other than quacky. But I know what I'm hearing, and I'm going to stand by that argument. So,
is that only in the 50s though? Did it change when you went to the 60s wiring?
It did. I think it did with the blend knob. The
No,
development
Miami's
of the blend
definitely
knob.
different. That
But
I
isn't
know.
that also
Yeah,
the
it's
thing
definitely
where then
different.
he arguably cut out the middle pickup?
Yeah, so that's an argument that started in the Beatles tribute world, and I honestly think it's just full of crap. You know,
That John wouldn't have cared that much.
No.
He wouldn't have known. That's my thing. He wouldn't have known.
This
Back
is the
then,
same, the same guy that
Yeah.
walked into Ron DiMarino's guitar shop and said, "I want a humperdinker instead of a
Yeah.
humbucker." John didn't know. He didn't care.
So
there would have been no way of him knowing what wire to unsolder.
Yeah.
Forget about it. As
So-
soon as you say solder, it's all over.
So what are you
So
getting
he-
at with this wiring argument?
So it would have been absolutely impossible for him to isolate that neck pickup on the 325. It would not have been possible. I mean, if it is an electric, it's the neck pickup on that song, or
Oh, I don't
the
know.
J160 pickup.
I didn't think
On
that.
wait, which song are we talking about?
Love
Oh
It.
My Loving?
I didn't think
my
that.
So you don't
I thought it
you
was a
don't
bridge
think he
pickup.
used it?
On the bridge pickup? No, no.
I don't think it's trebly,
Well,
but I don't
it's
think
mellow.
it's bassy either. It kind of, it's more of a mellow, like,
I've got a nice example for you that maybe will throw some. Well, given a certain video, will maybe throw some confusion. Do you remember that I want to hold your hand video that we were talking about at one point? Where
Which one?
everyone always talks about how I want to hold your hand. The tone is that rolled off neck pickup,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then Frutua made this video where he did it on the bridge pickup. Do you remember that?
People said it was the neck pickup on hand.
Yeah.
No, there's no way. Who said that?
What is Malibu use on that? That's his most popular video. It's got like
Bridge.
6 million
He
views.
uses the bridge. He
Oh,
uses
does
the
he?
bridge pickup. And it sounds like he's got rounds on that thing.
Do you think it?
Same
was-
with the Fruta. I mean, it just sounds like he's got rounds on it, but
I mean, it sounds
no,
good.
not on the record. Oh yeah, it does. But obviously there's a big tonal difference between rounds and flats.
But I'm
So,
confused on what your argument
I thought
is.
you were
Is it
agreeing
that-
with us that it wasn't the J160.
No. What I'm saying is, if the only way that John would have been able to get the tone that he got on Loving would be if the middle pickup was cut. But we know from other recordings that would have been impossible.
Because
we
it would be
hear-
too quacky in the middle
Yeah.
position? Is that what you mean? Because we
And
do
then-
hear that a lot
Yeah,
in his
it
rhythm
would have
playing.
been he would have had to have found a way to either cut the middle pickup, which would have been impossible because we hear the neck and middle pickups on other songs on that album.
You don't think it could have been neck the up position?
If it was, then the middle pickup would have had to been cut because I'm only hearing the neck.
Malibu's video is in middle position.
Ooh,
What does that tell you?
those all three?
I mean,
Oh man,
I think that Woody. I'm gonna stand by the Woody tone argument thing, which is just that the J160 is too distinctively Woody sounding for
Yeah.
it to be on this song.
well, again,
Or on
real
on
song. Let's just
John, not on the solo.
Yeah,
the solo is
solo,
Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
going back to real quick with the covers, I just want to say I think it goes back to also what I was saying, the fact that you could probably stick any 325 in any position. As long as you edit that thing perfect for your video, you're going to get the tone you're looking for.
yeah.
So, but back then, though, of course, I mean, how much editing did they have at the facility, at the soundboard? Do we know that at all? Any of us? Like, do they have just only, like, is it treble? Did it have, like, a mid boost thing? Like, what
With
did
the-
a mixing board
I mean,
back then have?
I don't know that they
to-
would have done a whole lot with it either way. At least in '63.
It had EQ, basic EQ, like bass and treble and I think that was about it. You could change the gain settings. I'm pretty sure John on the Ed Sullivan show used middle position for all my. I actually have a clip of that first
pull that
one
up.
if you want to
That's
play.
worth looking at.
Yeah. Hold on.
This zoom in is suspense is killing me.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, just trying to find
this
a good.
makes it even better.
Sure.
So suspenseful.
Yeah, it's like you can't even see it. You see how he's playing that E though?
Yeah, he is doing the E down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy,
Well,
but
I guess he's gonna.
loves
He
you.
got 6 pixels to work with.
it doesn't even matter at this point
Oh,
because
wait, go back to.
he's,
Well, he's changed songs. So he's definitely on neck there, right? Go back a little
I
bit.
didn't see. Yeah.
That's neck.
You can't even see it.
yeah, that's neck. That was a hot mess. I'm sorry.
Wow.
That was amazing.
But I don't know. I do see generally performances around that time. John did use the middle position a little bit.
Yeah, I just feel like, oh, I'm dumb. I have a 360 right here. You want me to plug that in real quick? I mean, it's
Yeah.
not a 325, but I took the 6 strings off my 12 string, so I could grab it real quick. The parts higher up the neck will sound basically the same. Hang on.
The neck pickup on my Rick 36012 is very dark on its own. Like
Yeah. Mine is too.
yeah, I don't know. So I guess having that middle in there as well, just it's beefy, but it's not so dark. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not the person to ask about this stuff. Paul, you don't have
320
any Ricks?
Well, you know what it is? Right now, again, since I have just gotten back into the whole recording thing with the new mic and all that stuff, and me getting back into playing, haven't been able to master getting it down just yet. Make a long story short, I told you guys I'm working on Norwegian wood. I am struggling to get in person on the J160. I'm like, wow, this is like freaking phenomenal. I think it sounds just like the record. The minute I listen to it on Audacity, send it to myself, listen to it on my phone, night and day difference. I'm like, what the hell is this crap? This is a 15-year-old playing this through a little chicken box? Like, what is this? So I'm struggling to get that good sound. Some of the videos I just made, like the AC100 video, I did a few quick demos. Some of those sound pretty good, but I'm still trying to get that perfect option, that blend of recording and getting back into it, and trying to find the time and everything else. I know I'm making excuses, but just give me more time, and I'll get the 325 included to our videos. But yes, the 325 does sound different than everything else.
Well, a lot of that has to do with the scale length.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
So I don't have the scale length here, but I guess I need to switch this thing back to on. I don't have the scale length here, but I mean this is neck. Obviously, there's no middle pickup, so it's gonna be different anyway. But neck sounds like this for the.
Can you do the triplets?
Yeah. I feel like it still sounds. I think it sounds too neck pickup-y. I think bridge
Yeah, I
is
don't
totally
think it's it.
possible. Because bridge is like. Yeah, let me do bridge. My jack on my Rickenbacker is cuts out sometimes.
It's
Very thin
missing the
sounding.
warmth.
hmm
Let's see.
Yeah, it could be neck pickup or something. I don't know.
I'm still on
Let's try
J160.
middle.
yeah.
Also, I did think that the mics were a little closer, so I have my mic a tiny bit away. You guys keep talking for a second, and I'll I'm gonna move my mic
Well, but
closer.
then don't even bother, Ryan, because then if you want us to talk about mic distance, then let's talk about speakers. Let's
Well,
talk
I
about
think they had their
circuitry.
mics really
Wait,
close
wow.
though.
Yeah, but
Clay
then
has a whole video on 63 Beatles about how their mics were placed between the speaker cones, which is what I've got right now. Mics are placed between the speaker cones to get the Beatles had like a lot of high end, and that cuts out a lot of the high end because it sort of, I don't know, gets past the mic before the mic actually picks it up.
Mm-hmm.
Let me
Definitely
just
not
experiment with
bridge
it.
pickup though. I'm not hearing it. It's too janky.
Well, I wouldn't even be able to get my 325 to work either because I have not the 58 series. I got a V59, it's wired completely differently, and I got the high gain toasters on it. The only one I have that's accurate technically is my 1996 model, which is, Miami.
But don't forget, for the C58 series, Rickenbacker specially made those pickups. You cannot find them anywhere else.
Yeah, this
They're
is
like
the
ultra
this
low
is for
output.
I bought these. These are like the C series pickups
Yeah.
because I
Low
just
gain,
put
yeah.
them on
Yeah.
myself.
I don't know why, Ryan, the video won't go to you every time you talk.
It's because I had that live performance thing on.
No worries.
Okay, so now that's off. I'm just gonna play it. Well, I need to switch it off, so just don't just don't say anything until I'm done playing, because then it won't come back to me. Okay, so this I moved the mic a tiny bit closer, and then before I had the bass was all the way off on the amp, and the treble was up to like noon or a little less, and so I turned the treble off all the way. And so now this is the bridge. And then middle sounds like this. Oh, but middle is a mess on this thing anyway, because this extra knob down here, which basically changes the volume of the second pickup. But and then neck. Yeah, I don't know. See, I just wish I had a 325 to actually try.
Well, let's go back to AC30 settings real quick. I talked about Rob from Studio 2 about this. He even saw it in a performance, I forget which one it was, but knowing vintage AC30s as well, they would have had the treble on 100%.
Yeah, I do have it in top boost, in the top boost channel, which I think they would have had too.
Yeah, I don't say it's well, it had top boost, but I think they just would have been plugged into just the regular. They were just into a regular channel. They would just
I don't think
into
they
Brilliant.
had an option. I think their AC30s just were top boost AC30s, right?
Yeah, they were just plugged
right?
into the Brilliant channel most likely, but they would have had treble all the way out to 100%, and then bass most likely a quarter of the way.
I don't know.
That's it.
Vox treble and bass controls are kind of weird.
On the vintage ones, they are. Again, my AC 100, in order to operate that thing, treble's gonna be 100% basically, or just right at like 85. If you go any lower than that, straight bass. The AC 50s, same thing. You gotta be at about 100% treble.
What if you have bridge pickup but you roll off the tone?
The problem is though me now. I start to get a stickler with it. That's the problem is those vintage AC30s completely night and day difference than my Korg AC30. Any AC30 we're talking about, they're all different. Even if you want to talk about a 65 AC30,
I do have the same
completely different
speakers.
Than a 63.
I've got the CC2X, so I've got the blue Alnico speakers, so that should be pretty close.
Yeah, I know,
But I
but of
mean, the
course it's
circuitry, it was all hand
yeah,
wired back in
it's
the day.
night. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, it's gonna all
PV
be
amp
different.
versus
You know, another bit of trivia about the 58 325s. I got them hearing this through Grant. They eyeballed the radius. They didn't have like radius gauges, so supposedly John's was like 6 inches. So
And
it
what
was
do
like like
you want to explain what you
the
mean by the radius?
so on a guitar, and I don't have one in arm's distance, but the fingerboards of a guitar are curved. They're not flat unless they're like a classical guitar, nylon string. But in terms of radius, the curvature of the fretboard. So, say for example, your standard Les Paul is going to be a 12-inch radius, so it's going to be a little flat. Or a vintage Strat is going to be 7.25 inch, so it's going to be like pretty curved. So the lower the number, the more curved it is. So you see like those guys like like Steve Vai, Paul Gilbert, like those guys, they have like 16 to 20-inch radius, so they're bone flat. But that's what a radius is, the curvature of the fretboard. So John's was supposedly pretty tight. Some 58s also have the same thing. They're inconsistent. So what I'm saying is, a lot of the stuff coming out of there, wiring wise, was inconsistent. So inconsistency is what I'm.
it's just yeah, the whole guitar was inconsistent.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
What do we think so far? If we had to draw a conclusion, who's thinking it's J160? I'm just curious, and who thinks it's
I'm
Rick?
still saying it's the 325 because I think it's too woody, and I think that bleed would still be there. And I don't.
Wait, so you think it's the 325 now?
Oh no, I've always thought it was the 325.
I thought you said in the beginning it was
I
the
think the
J160.
solo is the
The solo.
J160.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess we didn't get that far. See, I think the whole thing's straight J160. I think the solo is J160, and I think the strum is J160.
That's what Michael Sokill thinks.
It could go both ways.
Because also, the guitars were still relatively new to them, weren't they? The J160s.
Yeah. Well,
Just like with Please Please Me, they probably kind of, maybe would have went to town on both of them,
but
possibly.
like we've already established I mean, they were going crazy with the J160s on the first album, and then with the Beatles, it's way more 325, right? Because it's like it won't be long. Is there? And then you have like Money is definitely the 325. I'm trying to think Please Mr. Postman is the 325.
Yeah. Roll over Beethoven, obviously.
Yeah.
So what else? What else? Let's get
We
back
need
on
to talk about the solo now. We haven't even really gotten into the real.
Well, I played
controversy.
this solo on the.
Yeah, but we haven't talked about much like if it's even possible that it was a gent, because I seem to be the only one that even considered that option.
That's
well,
right. You did. Well,
I don't shoot
Paul,
it
do you wanna
down
play
though.
it? Do you have it plugged in?
Well, I don't. No, I don't have it plugged in or anything. I don't even know how I'd be able to.
I agree. It's definitely that woody tone. I mean, I hear what you guys are saying. I'm just wondering, maybe like some of the acoustic stuff you're hearing is maybe the gent strings bleeding through a mic or something. I don't know.
The neck pickup on the gents are a little more throaty rather than woody.
Right.
Well, Sam, you've got a gent, a vintage one.
No, you were borrowing it, right?
It's not mine, but yes.
Well, you don't have it
I didn't know you still had it. Do you?
No, I still have it. I still have
yeah.
it.
Yeah, you're borrowing it.
Do you want to try it?
Regardless, you have it.
Sure, I'll get it out. 1 second. I don't even have.
If you're not
it
set up, then
plugged in.
don't worry about it.
Yeah, I'm not set up for it.
Yeah.
Well, I was gonna say we could just at the same time too watch every YouTube video ever created on that song, because everybody uses a gen.
Everyone
anyways.
uses a
so
gen,
whatever. Yeah, so you just listen
I
to
just don't
that
think
and you hear it.
I just don't think you're gonna get that woody sound out of it.
No, definitely
No,
not.
but the only thing though, I do agree with what Sam was saying was the whole bleed thing. Well, Ryan, you brought that up. I didn't
It's an
think
overdub.
about that
It
until
wouldn't be
now.
bleed.
The fact of if you were, they took the Gretsch and they did the singing overdub in that, and then he played the solo with the singing overdub.
No, but they didn't.
Then
The singing, Paul was singing, but John and George were done backing vocals already. so there wouldn't have been any bleed there anyway.
The other song that's kind of similar that Ryan and I were talking about is This Boy. The George's like main rhythm track to that is either J160 or Gent.
Yeah,
I haven't fully made a choice, but
I would play it, but I don't have it here anymore.
but it's that similar thing of like, is it a
Very
neck pickup or is it an acoustic plugged in?
Again, another example of very woody tone.
Thank goodness they hadn't moved the pickups yet.
Oh yeah, well, that's a totally different. I've done it. It's a weird sound. But
so going back to what Sam was saying, then, so Sam, you are convinced, well, not convinced, but you're leaning towards it being a country gentleman for the solo.
I've actually never even played a J160 plugged in before, so I'm like, I don't even know. I'm not qualified to even answer it, but I think it could be neck pickup of the Gent. I don't know.
What about
you guys
Dom?
are saying?
for the solo,
Yeah.
I'm definitely not leaning towards the Gent. Definitely a J160 on that. It's
Ryan?
very woody.
Yeah, I'm definitely J160 all the way.
Okay. So
I was
now let
gonna
me just
ask,
run around it.
real quick. When he does it on Ed Sullivan, he does flip to the neck pickup just for that part, right?
Do you want me to pull? I have it here.
Yeah. Why don't we pull it up real quick?
I'll make sure it's not as loud this time. 1 second.
So he's in the neck pickup.
He already was in the neck pickup. You can see
Yeah.
he turned up the volume
Okay.
of the main volume.
Yeah. And
That's
well, if
interesting.
you listen to it right there, that's way brighter sounding than, I mean, not that that means anything because it's an Ed Sullivan recording, but
Yeah.
it's a lot brighter and like cleaner, I guess, almost than the one on the record.
It's not that woody tone.
Yeah. It
Yeah,
doesn't really sound
I hear
like
what you
the-
guys are saying. Definitely.
I was gonna say, do you want to go down around the room real quick one more time to
Yeah,
finalize it?
We didn't do that
basically?
with the Rickenbacker yet. Let's do that
With what?
with or not with John's part. What does everyone think John's doing?
Oh,
So Paul
Well, J160.
and Dom, you're also J160.
J160.
What about Sam?
Had to say yeah.
I don't know. I can't make him. When Ryan played it on the J160, I actually thought it sounded pretty close.
I mean, Michael Sokol definitely agrees with you. So I don't know. I want to stay in the 325 camp, but I really can't because I think I could get it. I think I could get the 325 spot on without that woody tone. For all I know, the woody tone is like exaggerated more as the thing ages. Like the wood makes it more woody as it gets older or something. I have no idea, but because I definitely on my J160, I can't get it to not have the woody tone, which I think Michael was able to do on his cover because he's using a new one, like a modern one.
So-
I don't think those modern ones have the same woody sound to them. I don't know why
Well,
that would be, but
I just want to make up a point real quick about that. I had posted in of course it's not going to be here, but I had made a story. I'm buying a new J160. I'm buying a 66. And somebody had commented on it saying that they had played both an original 62 and then played also a 64. And they said that the later ones actually sound more twangy and brighter than a 62 of the early ones.
I would believe that. Yeah.
But I'll be able to tell if once I get to the 66 and then I have my 62 reissue, I'm going to compare the sounds on that and see if they're between a vintage J160 and a reissue. I'm going to see if there is a difference. But at the same time, if you think about it, at the time the Beatles recorded it, how old were the J160s by then? They were just, a year.
Because that would add to
still new.
another layer of confusion to like the Beatles for sale stuff, where like maybe no replies, J160's plugged in.
Yeah.
But that's a whole mess because they at that point had one of each. So if it's 162 and 164, then who knows? So
The other
Well, I think-
songs that they recorded the day of All My Loving, Dom, you said they were Money, It Won't Be Long.
let me get
That's an interesting thing because they probably had the same sort of setup, right?
Right.
Like amp setup, mic setup at least.
Let me just get Mark Lewison's thing out. I'll adhere to the meme. Let's see. Oh, I opened up to the exact right page. Incredible.
Wow.
Okay. Oh, I was wrong. They actually had a session right before this, July 18th, where they did a few things when we were talking about that earlier. So on... Oh, Till There Was You was actually on the 18th. That was not on the 30th. So...
No, that was the first version of Till
Oh,
There
yeah,
Was You.
that's right.
That
They scrapped it. Okay, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Okay, 30th. 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Recording, Please Mr. Postman. Takes 1 through 9. It Won't Be Long. Takes 1 through 10. That's the first session. So those are both gent and... Well, there's some debate on whether it's the duojet or the gent or something, right? On It Won't Be Long. Who was it? What was the debate about the riff on It Won't Be Long? Sam, you said something?
Was there even a debate in this? People are debating this?
I did that cover with Duodet, and there was some debate over like whether John and George did that.
They do it synchronized
together.
on one of them or something, right?
Yeah, but
That's
it's
fair.
definitely
Okay, that's
325 and Jen.
And gent. Okay, never mind. I don't know. That's all I was thinking of. Okay, so those are both 325 and gent, both those songs. Then they go have lunch or whatever, come back at 5 p.m. 5 to 11 is Money, then Till There Was You, then Roll Over Beethoven, then It Won't Be Long, then they end it with All My Lovin'.
Wow.
Busy day.
So Money is gent and 325. Till There Was You is then J160 and Jose Ramirez. Roll Over Beethoven is gonna be the gent and the 325 again. It Won't Be Long is gent and 325. So, and we know that there's a Jose Ramirez on this, so I think it's sort of up in the air as far as this stuff tells you.
But that is an interesting argument for the 325 on All My Loving is, he already had it set up. Not that he didn't already switch that day, but
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting that he would then choose the J160 specifically for that song, if he already was with, I don't know. It's interesting.
On the topic of All My Loving, I do want to give a quick nod to Luca Cola, because he was the first one to cover it with the nylon string.
Was he?
And I was like, finally, someone covered it with the nylon string.
Oh, I do.
Yeah,
I
he was the
remember
first one to do it. Yeah.
He did it before Michael.
Yeah, like a
that's
year
cool.
before him. Yeah.
Luca deserves a big shout out. He's young,
Go check
young,
out Luca's
talented
channel.
kid.
He's got.
Luca
I
Cola,
appreciate he's got
awesome.
a lot of obscure stuff on his channel.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, he was the first one to do that with the nylon string.
Yeah.
But like
Well, I
nobody
guess-
believed it.
I didn't believe it either again until,
I'm glad that part is at least like pretty obvious from listening to the isolated stuff. That like you can hear the pick on the nylon strings.
Clear as day.
Yeah, the isolated stuff has really opened up my eyes to a lot of the stuff that we haven't been hearing. Because again, a lot of it was buried. And last thing I'm going to say is I think the Beatles had amazing voices. But I think it was a little too powerful. I think George Martin and everybody that produced their music should have cut the vocals back a little bit, honestly.
Well, that's
they were a
just
rock
the
band.
studio style of the time. Like vocals.
I
were
know, and
way
it's
in
a
the forefront
shame.
on everything.
It's just a shame, they were a rock band, and to bury a lot of that stuff that they had, it's just a shame.
I have a book. I don't remember what the title of it is. It categorizes the Beatles as a girl group, which I thought was pretty funny, because they have more of the qualities of a girl group than basically all the other.
That's like what
Solo
Pete
bands.
Townsend said about the Beatles. He said they were rubbish, and that like if you listen to Pete was listening to like the stereo versions of like
No,
I
the
don't know,
U.S.
their early album,
the U.S. stereo.
one of the early albums, and you hear voices on one side, instruments on the other, and he's like, if you listen to just the instrument, they're flipping lousy.
Yeah, stereo was
Well-
a weird thing at the time.
So I guess we're ready to call this one
Yeah.
officially over this
Yeah.
episode.
Do you want to
I
do?
call it good.
We want to go through what everyone thinks like for the whole thing, like all three instruments, just to recap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dom, you're always in this top left corner.
All right. So, John, J160. George, the Jose Ramirez. Also the J160 on the solo. And, of course, Paul with the Hofner. I don't remember if it was his I think it was his cavern bass.
I think it's a.
I think this was before he got the
You had to go and say it, didn't you?
I don't know.
I just opened up a new rabbit hole here.
It is.
Oh.
You're right.
It's the cavern bass?
Oh, wow, I wouldn't have guessed that.
Okay. So it was before he got the... Because he got the Hofner in October
Oh,
of
okay.
63.
Okay.
This was supposed to be December. Oh, no, never mind. Yeah.
This is.
There you are, right? Yeah. July, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So then, Paul, you agree with all that stuff, right?
Yep, I agree with Dom.
And then Sam, what are you?
I don't know. I think I'm gonna go Maton for the solo because I can't make up my mind. I don't know. Listening to it and hearing all the arguments, I honestly do hear the J160 a lot on like both. But my mind has always wanted it to be Gent and 325. So
Because of the Ed Sullivan show, I think.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's
I'm
like
in
the
an internal
most ingrained
battle.
piece of Beatles media in the world.
Yeah, and I just don't have a J160, so I'm kind of jealous of you guys, and like I don't like having to like admit that all the songs are J160 because like I can't cover
Well,
these
you
songs.
said Clay, not to sidetrack again, but you said Clay Blair thinks that it. What is it? Aside from Till There Was You, he thinks that the entire With the Beatles album is John on the 325.
Yeah, that's Boulevard Recording. He does videos like recreating Beatles stuff, and he's great.
Yeah. He was the one
he
that pointed
said-
out the thing about putting the
Yeah.
microphone between the speaker cones, which I hadn't tried that before, and that was really helpful for me.
Yeah, he's done all these tests, so it is interesting. But yeah, I think he said something about like there's no J160 plugged in on With the Beatles album, which I think
outside of
not
not just John, just at all. That's what you were.
maybe I don't want to misrepresent his words, but I do think Not a Second Time at the very least
I
is
think that too.
J160 plugged in.
I mean, he definitely knows his stuff, but I don't think I agree on that one. I think Not a Second Time is J160s as well.
And Ryan, what do you think for this song?
I'm gonna say, Jose Ramirez on the George's part, and then the J160 on his solo. But I still really want to believe that it's the 325 on the. Yeah, that's the 325. But I don't know. The dynamics of that are pretty weird. Like, why would he? If he's, it seems like that would be kind of loud compared to George playing the Jose Ramirez. But then again, having the J160 plugged in at all seems kind of loud. I don't know. I still want to believe it's the Rick 325. And one of these days I'll get one, and I'll try it out, and we will.
It's got to be a C58 though if you do, because don't forget those are hollow.
Yeah.
Oh.
We didn't get into like, did Paul use like flat or tape wounds on the bass? Or...
Well, I think rounds are still on or not rounds. I still think flats would have been on the. I played my J160 with flats, and I think he still would have had flats on that at that point.
By Beatles for Sale he switched, or Hard Day's Night he switched.
Maybe a Hard Day's Night, yeah.
It was Hard Day's Night, definitely. But yeah, I think it could be flats, and then flats too. Yeah, no. That's a whole different ball game.
I don't
too,
really have
like
any
we
claims
talked
about the. What do I have on this thing? I've got. What the heck is this? I've got flats on the first three. And I have no idea what. I think the G string is from the original set of strings that were on it when I bought it. So I think the G is like a really small wound. Or round.
Tetanus shot.
So I've got 3 flats and a wound. Or a round on this.
That's it's the old like Chuck Berry technique, like
just do whatever.
Like a piano string here, and then like banjo string here, and then like 2 guitar strings.
And I wish we could hear recordings of Paul using those piano strings on the bass. Not that it would have sounded any different.
On the Rossetti Solid 7.
I thought that was on his bass.
No, that was the Solid
That was on the
7.
Rossetti. He was using piano
Yeah.
strings. No wonder the
Yeah.
friggin' neck snapped. Oh my gosh.
I love that story of them going into the street and just like stomping on it to bits.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, they it was one night. I guess they were like, I don't remember where they were, still in Hamburg, and it broke. The neck broke. Shocking. And Paul's like, well, okay, let's just like go into the street, and so they like went into the street and just jumped up and down on it. Until it was
Amazing.
like wood chips.
Oh my gosh. It wouldn't be the
So,
last
yeah.
guitar to break into wood chips.
Well, it should be the first choice to break into wood chips. It's firewood.
All right. Well, what
Have
do
we
you?
upset enough people tonight? Do you think
Yeah, I
we've
think so.
caused some controversy?
I think some people
Yeah.
will be happy to hear more people say the thing about the Ramirez, but then some people
Yeah.
maybe don't know about it. So
Well, I'm really curious to see what people say in the comments.
yeah,
Or
I wanna-
people
Well,
have their
we
wanna
should
hear
give it like
what,
a proper goodbye to it, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
I want to hear
probably.
what Andrew from Abley House says about it because he was the one that told me about the Ramirez, and I
Yeah.
am thankful for that. But I wonder what he thinks about the rhythm. So
Well, hopefully maybe we'll hear from him.
yeah, so
Well, with that,
thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Subscribe and all that
Again,
stuff.
Tell us what you think down below. Comment. Let
Should
us
we
know
poll
what
it?
you think.
Yeah, definitely pull it. Pull all
let's
three
poll
of them.
it, Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like that this one has 3 little mysteries and all wrapped up with a nice bow on them.
Yes.
So,
Of course.
all right. Well, we'll be back in
We'll be back.
in a bit. So,
Adios.
see you later.
See ya.